What is really spiritual awakening? You've probably heard the term spiritual awakening many times before. But what exactly is this so-called spiritual awakening? Will you become a Buddha or reach a high level of unconditional love? Maybe not. Awakening might simply mean waking up something or someone that has been asleep, right? And here we arrive at the true meaning of spiritual awakening, and also where it all begins. Spiritual awakening is when your spirit wakes up from a long, deep sleep. Awakening happens when your spiritual eyes open to see reality as it truly is. Situations, facts, contexts, and people. Events you couldn't see while your eyes were closed during that deep sleep. Spiritual awakening is about seeing situations clearly and learning from them. And here's an interesting point. Some people remain spiritually asleep throughout their lives and never awaken. In definition, spiritual awakening is primarily a conscious awakening that allows you to see, understand, and accept the world as it is, not as your personal perspective projects it to satisfy your personal desires. Now that we understand the concept of spiritual awakening, let's talk a bit about how and in what way this happens. Well, what life context leads to spiritual awakening? Opening your spiritual eyes may be triggered by a need to fill an inner void, or by a sense that something just doesn't align with what you were taught, making you feel uncomfortable. But you just don't know exactly what's wrong, and thus remain inactive in situations that drain you, wear you out, and consume you little by little, forcing you to reflect on the issue. This discomfort may stem from a toxic relationship, a job that doesn't make you happy, or deeper issues such as a sense of emptiness related to a lack of purpose in life or internal questions about the meaning of existence. The process is almost always initiated by discomfort, a sense of inner emptiness, or something missing within your soul that nothing in the external world can satisfy, but which you always try to alleviate while immersed in everyday distractions, like a conversation with a colleague, physical activity, or being somewhere you often visit. You go out, get distracted, and even in the middle of fun or when you get home, the emptiness, sadness, and feeling of being lost hit you, and nothing seems to make sense. It's the search for answers to solve these problems that leads to the path of spiritual awakening. When starting your awakening journey, there's a clash between your perspective of reality and what reality truly is. The entire awakening process is based on conflicts between your truth and the new truth you've gained access to. Your perception is based on your experiences, knowledge, spiritual wisdom, and the sum of all the good and bad experiences your soul has had so far. However, manifested reality exists independently of your personal and sensory experiences, but your interpretation of that manifested reality can be distorted, because your interpretation of what's true or not depends only on you. And this is where things start to get complicated, because your perception can deceive you. You may see or not see things that are not true, but that are true for you because you believe them to be true, whether through induction or your own conviction. Every person living on this planet has access to two truths. One is the truth manifested in reality, independent of acceptance, and the other is the truth a person believes in, which only exists inside its head. Seeing the world through your own truth may keep you in your comfort zone and be pleasant to your eyes, while seeing the true truth may go against your beliefs and cause painful feelings. People cling to their personal truths because it gives them a sense of false security, as they feel sheltered by what they believe is under their control. On the other hand, the manifested truth can go much deeper and have many more layers that need to be explored. It's like digging a hole to find treasure, but not knowing the depth of that hole and the fear of encountering challenges or getting lost along the way makes you want to avoid digging. Still, some people risk it, and it's exactly at this point where many people going through the spiritual awakening process end up feeling anxious or even falling into depression, because they simply can't bear the pressure of seeing things as they truly are, and not how they thought or believed them to be. Imagine someone who believed in something for 20, 30, or 40 years, only to hear after all that time that it's false. Many people going through this process deny what they're seeing now because they don't want to lose the foundation, the base on which they built their lives, values, and principles. They can't accept that their beliefs were built on lies. Everything you think is true in life forms the foundation of your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your personality and guide your thoughts, ideologies, and actions, conditioning your entire life path. So these people silently ask themselves, if everything I thought was true is false, then who am I? On what foundation and truths did I base my life, my actions, choices, values, principles, and thoughts? Did I base all of this on an illusion? Then is my life a lie? And this is where people often fall into cognitive dissonance to protect their beliefs, using this path as an alternative to avoid contact with manifested truth. All of this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to prevent all their personal truths from being destroyed and falling into an existential crisis. Thus, people who choose the path of cognitive dissonance choose, in other words, to remain in a dormant state so they don't have to face the pain of change. It's like choosing to take the blue pill from the movie The Matrix and choosing to return to deep sleep instead of waking up to reality. The process of spiritual awakening is not easy. It is painful, hurts, and can even cause trauma if you're not prepared. But you can't clean something you don't know is dirty. To purify something, you first need to know where the impurities are. That's why the first step in the awakening process is to shine light on what's hidden in the darkness. And believe me, many people don't really want to see what's hidden, even if they say they do, and many aren't even psychologically prepared for it. But what are the stages of a spiritual awakening process? The process of spiritual awakening is not linear, and each person experiences it uniquely. Some may have sudden and intense experiences, while others may go through it more gradually throughout life. However, there are some typical phases of this process. The first stage is the dormant phase. This is where a significant number of people are. In the dormant phase, there are no signs of awakening. People live immersed in a deep sleep, almost robotically following the script of everything they've been taught by their parents, teachers, and mentors. Unfortunately, ignorance and mockery prevail in this phase. These people are usually lost, without purpose in life, without great perspectives on anything, without any signs of questioning about where we came from or where we're going. This group typically only believes what traditional media tells them. If there is something traditional media doesn't support, for them, it's like it doesn't exist, even if it's right in front of them. Anyone trying to convince them otherwise will be ridiculed with narratives they've been brainwashed into believing since childhood. It's a kind of dormancy manual passed down from generation to generation, from parent to child, where the parent didn't awaken and the child follows the same path until becoming a parent and passing the script to the next child and so on. For these people, the awakening process hasn't started, and for many it may never start throughout their lives. The second stage is the beginning of consciousness awakening. This process is marked by some event or series of events that bring a reality shock to the person, either through a more collective event, like a global event, or something more individualized, like a personal experience. This initial shock can occur through a mystical experience or deep meditation, a conversation with an awakened person, or a significant event that alters their perception of life. Within this second stage, some subsequent steps occur, such as Step 1. Release and purification. As you experience the reality shock, something within you changes, altering your perception of a fact, situation, or person. Through this shock, you see a situation in your life more deeply and then reinterpret it. By reinterpreting a situation, you start to free yourself from something that was limiting or trapping you, something you may not have seen from that perspective before. This allows you to connect with your true essence, and the purification process begins. You may feel the need to release repressed emotions, eliminate limiting beliefs, and even free yourself from toxic relationships and environments. This can be painful, but it is an essential part of the transformation and begins a gradual process of purifying the impurities that limited you from finding happiness and well-being. Step 2. Integration. After the release and purification phase comes the integration phase, where you start incorporating the new knowledge and insights obtained through this experience into your daily life. This phase happens due to the liberation you had in the previous phase. Through the new knowledge acquired, you begin to avoid repeating those same situations you experienced before. This change is nothing more than a change in your consciousness. You gain clarity about certain situations and act to avoid them bringing you new harm. This is called evolution. Step 3. Enlightenment or spiritual clarity. Over time, the continuous repetition of these stages in different areas of life and in various situations brings the spiritual awakening that leads to spiritual clarity. This clarity may not signify total enlightenment or the end of your journey, as you'll always be evolving to a greater degree of consciousness, but it will gradually change the way you see and act in life. It's like a constant adaptation of your consciousness through perception to avoid harm in various areas and to allow you to extract the best that life has to offer. This clarity is directly linked to wisdom. The more spiritual clarity you have, the wiser you will become. And through the accumulation of this wisdom throughout your life, you'll feel a deep sense of connection with the universe, life, and your purpose. This is when you begin to see life in a broader way, with more inner peace and acceptance. External problems start to affect you less, and the weight of life gradually decreases. You no longer deny suffering, but come to understand it and realize that with all suffering also comes learning, and this learning becomes another adaptation in your perception. You understand that the key to life is not to flee from pain, but to learn how to deal with it. Just as understanding that the awakening process is a choice, it is also important to understand that everything in life has a price. Awakening has its price and ignorance also has its price. You must understand that you are not free from paying the bill, but you have the power to decide which of these bills you want to pay. The choice for the path of wisdom will lead you to face painful truths, uncomfortable situations, and even existential crises. The choice for spiritual awakening will first make you face your own demons, your flaws, all your imperfections, mistakes, and hurts, so that after unraveling them, you can solve them. On the other hand, the choice of ignorance will make you deny your flaws, imperfections, and mistakes, falling into constant cognitive dissonance, creating a false sense of being on the right path, but actually perpetuating an endless cycle of the same harmful situations. You'll be like a student who repeats the year every time, and as time passes, this student shows no progress. Every mistake brings with it a lesson. You choose whether you want to learn from it or not, but as long as you don't learn the lesson, you'll fall repeatedly into the same mistake, as it's impossible to solve a problem if you don't change the method that always fails. For example, if you trust the wrong people and don't learn how to detect who deserves trust, you'll be betrayed person after person, relationship after relationship, due to successive wrong choices, until you learn that not everyone is trustworthy and learn to detect the signs of who has bad character. Spiritual awakening is, in other words, a conscious adaptation of the being to challenging environments, aiming for self-protection and self-care, and this inevitably leads to the evolution of consciousness and spirit. The entire process of spiritual awakening depends solely and exclusively on your own choices. The universe will present you with all possibilities, tests, and challenges, and it's up to you to choose with which ones you want to learn and set your limits. Each person in the world makes their own choices and creates their own destiny. This is the greatest power each of us has, the power over our own life. And after everything said here, we can affirm that spiritual awakening is a completely individual process. And all this leads us to a very important point. You cannot force anyone to awaken. You must understand that you cannot force someone to see what they have chosen within their free will not to see. This is a power each person has, as we said earlier. It's the power each one exercises over their own life, and no one can change that. With that, you must learn to respect each person's evolution and awakening time. It's very common for those going through the awakening process to try to awaken their loved ones, brothers, sisters, parents, spouses, friends. But you must remember that no matter how much you love them, they still have their own free will. It's their right to follow the path they've chosen for themselves. You must bear in mind that their level and path of spiritual and consciousness evolution are different from yours, so don't expect them to accept, agree with, or follow the same path as you just because they're close to you. Your love cannot change this. Love them by respecting them and respecting their choices, so they can go through the experiences their consciousness level needs to evolve and reach the next stage in this gradual process. But you don't need to abandon them entirely. Instead, you can use your love for them to ease their consciousness evolution process, without invading their space or forcing them to skip stages of the process. This is the highest expression of love you can offer them in this life. Finally, spiritual awakening is not an easy process, and not everyone is ready for it. That's why each person has their time, their path, and many people go through life without ever experiencing it. So how can you help without interfering with someone's free will? Bring them knowledge and let them accept or deny it as they wish. Let their choices define their paths and destinies. This is the highest level of love and respect you can show to another living being. If you like this content, subscribe for more and don't forget to leave your like and activate the bell to receive notifications of new videos. May you continue your journey towards spiritual clarity. Thanks for watching.